Welcome to the Soul Summit podcast. I'm your host, Courtney Preedy. I'm here to help bridge the gap for women and families in the outdoors, build a community of adventure junkies, and roll out your weekly dose of positive vibes. With almost 2 decades in the health and fitness world and an untamable passion for hunting in the outdoors, my mission is to help you live your bucket list life and move boldly in the direction of your dreams. Meet us here weekly as I connect with like-minded outdoor men and women to discuss health and mindset, accountability, life and entrepreneurship, as well as all things hunting and epic untold stories.
Welcome to the Masterclass. Thank you so much for taking time out of your Monday evening to spend it with me and talk about becoming strong over skinny out in the wild. My name is Kim, and I am the owner and operator of an online strength and nutrition coaching business called Spear Strength Wellness. I am a lifelong hunter. I've been hunting since 1995 and have been coaching since 2012. So y'all do the math. I'm not going to do it. All right. And if you hear a little bit of an accent, you are correct. Your ears are not deceiving you. I am born and raised Texas and now live in Oregon. So the vowels give me away, and don't hold that against me. I'm also caffeinated. So if I start talking real fast, accent comes out a little thicker. So today I'm going to talk about 3 of the 4 pillars that I personally teach my one-on-one clients about strength in the outdoors. And while I understand everyone has different backgrounds, different knowledge levels, different opinions when it comes to health and fitness, the majority of society trains for looks, all right, or for a number on the scale. But I want to challenge you to feel unstoppable on the trail, in the woods, in your bodies, and for years to come. Because let's be real, I personally want to be doing this, living outside, going outside, hunting, hiking, fishing, all of that, well into my 80s. I'm going to be the grandma fighting a wheelchair down a hiking trail. All right. And I want y'all to come with me too. So we can call it the granny crew. As I say this, if you're thinking to yourself, but Kim, I want to be strong, but I also want to look good too. You don't have to choose. All right. You can have both. You can have your pie and eat it too. All right. And so I'm going to talk about the 3 common mistakes that I see as a coach and give you 3 tools to leave with so you know how to eat, train, and recover like the mountain athlete you are or you want to be. So I am a firm believer in this. You can have all the gear, all the maps, all the know-how, but if your body is not ready, none of it matters. Because when things go wrong in the wild, and 99% of the time they do, you're either one of 2 things. You're an asset or you're a liability, right? Strength, endurance, fueling properly, these aren't just fitness buzzwords. They are the difference between getting out safely or becoming the problem that others are being put at risk. Mistake number 1. How many of you have ever started a fitness journey because you wanted to lose weight? I'm raising my hand too. All right. I have started many, and I've been in this industry for 20 years. All right. Now, how many of you stuck with it because you realize how good it feels to be strong? Not as many hands. Yeah, kind of, sort of. That's okay too. All right. So the first mistake is training for aesthetics. All right. Because here's the thing. Shrinking your body isn't the goal. Preparing it for what you love is. And so many women have been conditioned to measure their fitness by how small they can get. And I want you to challenge that. All right. Because in the backcountry, it's not about how small you can be. It's about how strong you are. Because the women that I coach, we're out here training to carry out elk quarters, climbing elevation, packing 30 pounds on our back to through hike 500 miles, right? Doing hard things on our own. And that doesn't happen with calorie cutting and cardio only programs. So the science of strength. Strength is the protective medicine for your body. All right. And I have a love-hate relationship with social media because more and more women are talking about being strong. And absolutely, yes, I love it, right? Because being strong not only reveals what you are capable of doing, but it builds bone density. Hello, women over 35, perimenopause, menopause, and postmenopause. We get all the hormones, and strength helps build that bone density and slows down osteoporosis. All right. It improves joint health, reduces injury risk. It supports your metabolism, stabilizes your blood sugar, increases your independence and capability long term. Because again, I want to be doing this well into my 80s. All right. And I want y'all to be doing this well into your 80s. All right. So, quick question. Do y'all know what the first exercise physical therapists who work with a geriatric population give their patients? It's squats. All right. It's squats. And you know why? It's not because grandma wants a booty, right? It's because that squats is an everyday movement that people do. They sit in a chair, they get out of a car, they sit on the toilet, they get off the toilet. That is a squat. You don't need a full gym of machines. You need a plan that makes your body work better, not just look smaller. All right, so let's bust a myth. All right, instead of busting a move, we're busting a myth. Does anybody know the most common myth as to why women are so hesitant to lift weights? They don't want to get bulky. Yeah, ladies, let's bust this right now. You will not bulk up like accident. All right, you will not. Women naturally have lower testosterone. And so gaining that significant amount of muscle mass requires years of progressive overload, intentional eating, and being dialed. What you do gain, right? Not just everything that we had just talked about, but you also gain muscle definition, better posture, more energy, confidence in your body's power. 3 takeaways, all right? 3 movements that I think every outdoors woman should train weekly. And I'm going to go over these. Number 1 is steps with a weight. All right. This builds single leg strength, balance, and core stability. All right. This is essential for powering up steep terrain and even uneven trails with a loaded pack. The ground overhead press. This is a total body coordination. Right? It works the back of your body, aka the posterior chain. It also helps with shoulder strength, right? Think about this as lifting heavy gear or elk quarters from the ground to your pack height, right? And then suitcase carries, this strengthens your grip, obliques, and core stabilizers. This is critical for carrying uneven loads like a pack, a weapon, while maintaining posture and balance in the backcountry. So I'm going to go over these real quick. How do you do these? Well, first of all, if you don't have a set of dumbbells, go to your grocery store, pick 2 20-pound dumbbells. Yes, I said 20 pound, not 10 pounds, because we're not doing pink weights. All right. Get something heavy. All right. 15 to 20 pounds is a perfect place to start. So if you don't have dumbbells or a kettlebell, right? Dumbbells, kettlebell, go to your grocery store and go get one. All right. If you're like, yo, I don't got room, cool. If you have a pack, which I assume that you do, use your pack and put weight in it. All right. Also, if you don't have a step up, y'all, this is a cooler. I don't know how far y'all can see, but this is a Yeti cooler. You're excused to buy a Yeti if you want one. All right. But you don't have to have a box. You don't have to have a bench. Use what you got. You can use a chair. Just make sure it's not going to slide out from underneath you because safety first. So step ups, how do you do this? I'm holding a weight, all right? What I'm going to do, so the step up actually starts before your foot is on the box, okay? It actually starts right here. So whenever you're stepping up, you don't want to do this weird like little kick out thing. So what you want to do is bring your leg straight up and then set it on the box. You want to push your butt back so you're leaning forward. This is actually stretching this glute. All right. So it has to go through a greater range of motion in order to work. So instead of jumping off with this back leg, you're going to drive this foot into the ground. Okay. So lean forward, drive this foot into the cooler, come up, push your butt back, control it on the way down, and then alternate. The second one is a ground to overhead press. I'm still using my dumbbell. Okay, so the weight is going to start on the ground. It's going to start in between my legs. My feet are a little bit wider than shoulder apart. I'm going to squat down, grab the weight, stand up, and press. Bring it back down, uncurl it, sit down. This is a squat with a curl and a press. Cool? That's mimicking something, picking up from the ground, whether if it's your kid, your dog, I don't care. You're picking it up, you're shouldering it, and then you're placing it overhead. The next one is a suitcase carry, not to be confused with a farmer carry. Farmer carry, you have two weights in the hand, but because you pack light, you only got one suitcase, right? Yes. Okay, so weight is on one side. This weight is wanting to pull me down. Okay, so you have to activate your core to stand up neutral. Okay, so you're activating your core muscles, you're activating those little spine muscles around your spine to help stabilize. Okay, shoulders are back, chest up, chin up. You're back in charm school. I never went, but pretend. All right, we've all seen those movies, right? Chest up, chin up, and you're walking. Okay, you're walking. It's also helping with your grip. So you want a full grip on this. You're not barely holding on with your fingertips. Full grip, chest back, walking back and forth. Be sure to alternate. All right, that's especially helpful if you don't have a bow sling. That mimics, if you are an archer, right? That mimics you carrying your bow. Your hand can get tired. All right. Even with a rifle, if your rifle doesn't have a sling, you're holding it, right? Yeah. Grip strength is important. When you start training for performance, everything else will fall into place. You feel better, you recover faster, you move through the wild with confidence, right? You're not training just to look good in camo. You're training to be the one who can handle it when it hits the fan, all right? Because when you slip on a muddy slope and you sprain your ankle, when the pack out gets heavier than expected, when you're miles in and someone else is struggling, you're the one who can help. Again, you're the asset, not a liability. Because women in the backcountry, they are essential. They're not optional. Mistake number 2, guessing your fuel. Y'all, your engine is only as good as the fuel you'll give it. The engine, meaning your body. All right, so if you are under eating, or you're over relying on sugary snacks, your endurance is going to suffer. And so does your recovery. Raise your hand if you've ever gotten through halfway a long hike, a long hunt, and thought, oh my gosh, I trained for this. Why am I so drained? I didn't even hike that far. How many of you have been there? That's not your stamina failing. That's your fuel strategy failing. What you eat determines how far you will go. Quite literally. We're going to break it down into some stupid, simple macros. We're not going to go super deep into it, all right? But if you don't know what a macro is it's short for macronutrients, all right? And there's 3 of them. Each piece of food that you eat has a different ratio of these macronutrients: protein, carbs, and fats, okay? So protein is responsible for building and repairing. It helps rebuild muscle after your efforts, and it helps prevent muscle loss during those long days. Carbs are the quick fuel, okay? Carbs are not your enemy, I promise you, all right? This is your body's preferred energy source. They're needed for those long hunts, those long hikes that go on for hours. And then fats, this is the long burn fuel, all right? So think of carbs if you're building a fire, right? Think of carbs as the kindling that goes up real fast. The fats are the logs, all right? They're that long burn. They keep you full and steady during those long, low intensity movements. They're also great for cold weather hunts and slow pack outs. So you don't need fancy backcountry meals to keep you sustained, all right? You need smart, shelf-stable combos like these, all right? They're super easy, right? Jerky, dried fruit, and nuts. You have your protein, your carbohydrates, and your fats. Tuna, crackers, and peanut butter, preferably not together. That'd be a little weird, right? But you got protein, carbs, and fats. And then protein bars. So depending on the company, right? So they all have a different ratio of protein and carbohydrates. But Usually a good protein bar has a good amount of protein, like around 20 grams, and then carbohydrates are around 20 grams. Again, everything is different, and then usually are low in fat, which is where the trail mix comes in. Excuse me, which is carbs and fats. Now we got to talk about hydration because that is a part of fueling. All right, because hydration is performance, and most women drink like whenever they're thirsty, they're behind. All right. So I have a strategy. Prehydrate. Start the night before and then sip at the trailhead. And I will be completely honest with you, on the drive to the trailhead, like for a hunt, I am chugging coffee. I am like, where is my IV to my coffee pot? Let's go. Right. When I get to the trailhead, I'll take a swig of water, wash your mouth out, right, of that coffee. And then during your hike or hunt, small regular sips, no chugging water, because who likes the sloshing of water in your belly as you're hiking? No, thank you. And then post, right? So after your hike or whatever, replenish what was lost, meaning electrolytes. And we're going to talk about that here in a minute. But especially if you're sweating or if you're at altitude, replenishing those electrolytes are going to be super helpful. All right. And when I'm out all day, I'll have a water bladder that is just water in my pack, and then I'll have a Nalgene that is electrolytes. So I have both with me, depending, because I am a salty sweater. Signs of dehydration. All right. So if you're feeling of these, you're already behind, but they're good to pay attention to. Low energy, headaches or brain fog, dry mouth or lips. You haven't peed. Y'all, that is a sign. We're like, at the end of the day, you're like, I didn't use my poop kit at all. That's not good, right? And that's a sign to start chugging some water, chugging some electrolytes. Now, with electrolytes, I know it's really popular right now, like on the Instagram influencers of, hey, did you have your electrolyte? Did you have your salt today? Right? And the thing is, you don't need them on every walk. All right, you don't. But there are five scenarios to where you do need them. Number one, you're sweating heavily, because sweat isn't just water. Your sweat is packed with electrolytes like sodium, potassium, and magnesium. And the more you sweat, the more you lose. So you may experience muscle cramps, fatigue, dizziness, and brain fog. And so having electrolytes, that helps maintain proper nerve and muscle function, which is extremely important, especially if you're chasing elk. You know, I want my muscles to be working. And this also helps avoid bonking with those mid-hike crashes, right? The next one is that you're above 5,000 feet in elevation. So at higher elevations, your body loses more fluids through respiration, through your breath, because just breathing in dry, thin air actually dehydrates you faster. So you risk altitude-related headaches, nausea, and confusion, especially if your electrolytes are low, right? So by having electrolytes, you help retain hydration longer, right? Regulate your blood volume and pressure both are which are critical for adapting to elevation. If you're out for longer than 2 hours, usually around the 90-minute mark, your energy stores, it's called glycogen, starts to drop and fluid loss increases, even if you don't feel thirsty. So fatigue sets in faster, reaction time slows, and endurance tanks. Again, reaction time slowing is not the best thing, especially if you are a hunter, right? Because things happen fast, okay? And you want your reaction time to be fast. You want to keep up with the time. So electrolytes help sustain that energy output and keeps your muscles firing properly over that long duration of time. You're on back-to-back days of activity. So recovery time between sessions is shorter. And if your hydration or electrolyte levels aren't really restored the day before, you start out half depleted. You start out on a half empty tank, right? So you enter day 2 already low, which compounds fatigue, soreness, and injury risk. All right. So my Hawaii hunt that I just got back from, we went to bed around 11 p.m. and woke up around 3:30. That is not a lot of time. That is very little sleep. And so Whenever we got back, I made sure that I had my Nalgene of electrolytes. I was ready to chug. I would have one before I'd go to bed. So making sure that you are replenishing that night before. Last one, dry heat or humidity. So in dry heat, you often don't feel sweaty, but you're losing fluids through your skin and through your breath. In humidity, your sweat does not evaporate, right? Which causes your body to sweat even more to cool down. Think of swimmers in a swimming pool, right? Whenever you're swimming, you're like, oh, this is great. I'm not sweating. I'm cool. I'm in the water. But really, you're just dehydrating, right? Same thing with humidity. So without replenishing, your dehydration will rapidly just amp up. No, and you won't notice it until it's too late. So by having those electrolytes, you help retain more water effectively and keep your body temperature regulated in those harsh climates. Some tactical takeaways. Please take a screenshot of this slide. I'm not going to talk on all of this. I feel like y'all's head would just spin and your faces would just melt if I went through this. So take a screenshot of the slide and keep it for the next time that y'all are going out. When y'all are underfueled, you become the first to fatigue and the one who needs help instead of giving it. Okay. Again, liability and asset. Fueling is self-reliance in action, and it's what keeps you sharp. It's what keeps you safe. If your body is like a pocket knife, dull knives are usually more dangerous than sharp ones. Keep your mind, keep your body fueled, and stay sharp. We're in the home stretch, y'all. Mistake number 3. Ignoring recovery. Y'all, the truth is your rest days aren't lazy. They're your secret weapon. All right. You don't get stronger in your workouts. You get stronger during your recovery. And if you're constantly white knuckling it and pushing through, your body is going to be constantly pushing back. So if you're anything like the women that I coach, rest days almost feel like a guilty pleasure. You're like, oh, Coach Kim doesn't have anything scheduled for me. Oh, this is nice. And because you feel like you need to earn your strength. But the thing is, pushing harder when your body is already screaming for recovery doesn't make you stronger. It delays your progress. And I want to be very clear. There is a difference between a scheduled recovery day and slacking off. Okay, because not showing up to a workout because you don't feel like it, that's not a recovery problem. That's a discipline problem. Okay, so we're going to talk about this because this is something that I am really passionate about. The big difference between a planned recovery day and skipping a workout just because you don't feel like it, like that is a big difference. One is intentional and one is avoidance. All right. A scheduled recovery day is built into your program. It's there to help your body adapt and grow and come back stronger. It's a strategy, right? So, but bailing on your training just because you're not motivated, that's not recovery. That is a discipline problem. And if you let that slide too often, it adds up, right? And in a negative way. Everything is always adding up, right? Whether if you are showing up towards your goals, that adds up, that compounds. Well, if you're not showing up and you're moving further away from your goals, that compounds. Either way, you are compounding. Motivation is a feeling. Discipline is a decision, right? No one is born with discipline. You have to practice it day in and day out. Again, I've been in this industry for 20 years, and there are days where I'm like, no, I don't want to, right? But I do because I know what's on the other side and I know what my goals are. And saying no doesn't get me closer to where I want to be. All right. And so the outdoors doesn't care how you feel that day, right? It demands that you show up capable regardless. So yes, rest when it's time to recover, but please do not confuse rest with quitting on yourself. All right. So let's talk about that overtraining. I talked about like, oh, well, I don't want to quit on myself, right? I don't want to do that. So what do I do? Right? Don't worry. Cost of overtraining, even if you don't feel overtrained, right? So that that feeling of like burned out, like if you've hit a plateau or if you feel stiff and sore, or you have that nagging injury season after season, that's likely a recovery issue, because under recovery, this leads to plateaued strength gains, increased injury risk, hormonal disruption. Hello, women over 35, right? Loss of muscle and even poor sleep. So strategic recovery leads to faster muscle growth, better joint health and mobility, less soreness, better sleep, and long-term performance gains. Because again, we are in here to do this into our 80s, 90s if you're feeling extra spicy. What counts as recovery? Well, it's not just naps and ice baths, right? Recovery is a system. It includes things that you might already be doing, but the difference is doing them intentionally. So number one, sleep. All right, so this is the number one recovery tool that the majority of people, not just women, but the majority of people overlook. And this is when our body is in repair mode. The second one is protein. Y'all, eating enough protein throughout the day, this gives your body something to repair it with. All right. And the thing about protein is it is responsible for every structural component in your body: hair, skin, nails, bone tissue, gut tissue, muscle tissue, hormones, DNA, enzymes, all of that requires protein. The thing is your body will take care of all of that stuff first, because your body's primary goal is to maintain homeostasis and to survive. You care what your body looks like. Your body cares about surviving. Next one is walking. Walking, that active recovery. This is an active recovery that I program for myself and for all of my clients. Go for a walk, all right? Because it flushes inflammation and it helps promote circulation throughout your body. And last one, mobility. Y'all, mobility is more than stretching. Mobility is joint prep. All right. So moving better with less pain. And if you have tight hips, achy knees, a shoulder that doesn't want you to draw your bow back, you don't need more rest. You need smarter movement. All right. And so the mobility areas that matter most to the majority of outdoors women: hips, ankles and calves, shoulders, and thoracic spine. So if you don't know what your thoracic spine is, your spine is divided up into 3 different segments. So from your chin to your shoulders is your cervical spine. Your shoulders to about the bottom of your ribs is your thoracic spine. And from the bottom of your ribs to the top of your hips is your low back or lumbar spine. Okay, so we're talking about the middle portion right here. All right, when I say thoracic spine. 3 movements that everybody can do, all right, that will help you. A seated pigeon, don't worry, we're going to go over these. Seated pigeon, downward dog calf stretch with ankle pumps, and a frog T-spine rotation. I have no idea why these names are what they are, but you know, they're silly. Maybe they'll help you remember them. With the seated pigeon, so everybody can actually do this, all right? Like right now where you're at. With the seated pigeon, you're going to cross an ankle over a knee, all right? Ankle over your knee. Press that knee that's up, down just a little bit. You don't have to crank on it, right? But press it down just a little bit. You're like, ooh, I feel that in my hip. Yes, exactly. Now I want you to sit up nice and tall, and I want you to lean forward just a little bit. That's going to intensify that stretch. You're like, oh, help me, right? Y'all, this is great for help opening up your hips, all right? Opening up your hips, getting those movement with the internal and external rotation, which will help keep you more stable on the trail. The second one is a downward dog with the calf stretch and ankle pumps. So you're in a downward dog, all right? Butt is up in the air, legs are straight, and you're going to press one heel into the ground. And depending on how tight you are, you might feel this in your hamstring, all right? But pressing one heel into the ground, and then you're just going to switch. Pick that left heel up, drop that right heel into the ground. Again, straighten out that leg, pump again. If you feel extra spicy, you can bend that knee, and you're going to stretch that bottom portion of your ankle, of your calf. Third exercise is that frog T-spine. So you're going to start out with your toes pointing together, and your knees are spread out, right? And so I'm sitting back on my heels. My hands are straight and they're right here in the middle. My spine is nice and straight. It's nice and neutral. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep my arm straight and I'm going to reach up behind me as best as I can, as far as I can, and then come back and alternate. Again, reaching up as far as I can, come back. So that helps with the rotation of your spine, all right? Your spine is not a fragile piece of thing, okay? Your spine is meant to move. It's meant to bend. It's meant to twist. It's meant to flex and extend. So train it. Overall, injury doesn't care how tough you are, and it doesn't care how old you are. Without proper recovery and mobility, even the strongest woman can be sidelined. And once you're hurt, your skills mean nothing. Mobility isn't optional. Recovery is not lazy. They are your armor. We went through a lot. Holy moly. Let's recap. Number 1, train for performance, not just the mirror. Fuel and hydrate with a purpose. Recover and mobilize like it matters, because it does. Your body is your gear. You can't replace it. All right. You can replace your camo. You can buy a new bow. You can upgrade. All right. You can upgrade a new bow, your sights, your gun, your sight, whatever. You can upgrade all those things, but you can't buy a new body. All right. You have this one body. Your health is your insurance, and you have a choice to prepare it. So whenever you're standing at the trailhead, you're either standing there prepared or you're standing there praying, oh man, I hope I'm prepared. I've been in both. And I will say that being prepared is more enjoyable. So I know that we've covered a ton today. And honestly, like, this is just the beginning, right? And I know it feels like a lot. Like, I know it does. But I'm going to leave you with 2 things, all right? Number 1, your health is your foundation for everything you want to do in the outdoors. You can have all of the GPS apps, the expensive gear, the backcountry know-hows, but if your body can't keep up or it breaks down when it matters, then none of that fancy stuff matters. Out in the wild, you're either an asset or a liability, and no one ever plans on becoming the liability. But when it does happen, it happens because we ignored the basics: strength training, fueling, endurance, and recovery. So the first thing that I'm going to leave you with is Women Built Wild. So this is a program that I built specifically for you, for this class. So you can either scan the QR code or I'll drop it in the chat so you can grab it right there. Again, completely yours, right? It's all free. The next one that I'm leaving you with is the Women's Wilderness Summit. Y'all, everything that I just talked about, we are going to dive deep, all caps, all bold, italicized, underlined, deep into everything that I just talked about at this summit, along with some amazing, amazing other gals, right? All the ones who have been doing the master classes, they're going to be here. And we're just scratching the surface, trying to give y'all all the information that we can in like 60 minutes, right? And that's a lot. If you go to the website and you type in that orange code, you get 25% off of your ticket. Make sure that you go to the website, type in MC Summit 25, you get 25% off. Save your spot, step into the asset role, and let's build you into the wild woman you are meant to be. Because I know all y'all got it, right? I know you do. Well, y'all, thank you again for taking time out of y'all's Monday to come hang out with me and listen to me talk about stuff that I am super passionate about, which is health and fitness and turning women into mountain goats, into strong mountain goats. Like, that is my passion and I love it. I love seeing other women accomplish their outdoor dreams, their outdoor adventures. So if y'all need anything, please reach out to me. I'm always here to help. You can find me on Instagram at Spear Strength Wellness, or on YouTube at Kim Palmer Nix. I'm everywhere, so you can find me. All right. If y'all have any questions, if more questions come up about nutrition or supplements or anything like that, workouts, exercises, let me know, and you can reach out to me. Again, I'm here.
The Soul Summit podcast is brought to you by Maven Optics, Baku e-bikes, Hoyt Archery, Onyx Maps, and Sawyer Products. For more information on these companies or to access the Soul Summit podcast discount codes, be sure to check out our show notes.